Hello, I'm Jack and this is Entertainment World, and today I will be talking about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, which was directed by Zack Snyder, written by David S. Goyer and Chris Terrio, and is the second film in the DCEU. It's also the second film in the Snyderverse, now that those two things are, at least separated for the moment. I don't say the DCEU. I mean, I know for the sake of these reviews I've been calling it the DCEU, but I now say Warnerverse and Snyderverse. Although for the purpose of this I'll say the DCEU. And this is my review for it. If you're watching this video, if you've clicked on this and have thought, yes, I get to sit and watch another YouTube video where somebody talks about this film for an hour, saying how it's the worst film ever made and everybody who made it should be ashamed of themselves, then you're going to be disappointed, because I'm not going to do that. That's not the point of this video. If you've clicked on this video thinking, he's going to say it's okay, it's just average, it's not the best, it's got some good things, then again, you're disappointed, because this video is not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about it like that. So if you are one of those two people, this video is not for you. This video is for the people who actually really love this film. Just think it's one of the best comic book films ever made, possibly even in their top 10 films sort of thing, or even their favourite film, because I love this film. I love Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. The theatrical cut I haven't watched since 2016, since the cinema. I haven't watched it since then. That film was quite weird. It was heavily edited. It didn't have the same impact, but Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition is amazing. One of my favourite comic book films, and I absolutely love it, and I'm going to talk about it now. However, I will just mention some negatives first, just to get them out of the way, just so I can end on the positive note. Okay, so my first negative is, this could not be your type of comic book film, If you like the Marvel, jokey, haha, laugh, not take things too seriously, got a lot of levity, sort of thing, then you're probably going to find this film very heavy. You might even dislike it. I mean, who knows, you might actually like it, but you might find it too dark, too scary, too intense, too gritty, too dark. Just you might just not be your type of film. Just putting it like that. And also, if you hate art, happiness, things being good, story, structure, things like that, and you just hate anybody with an idea, then you'll definitely hate this film. And the last negative is, like with Man of Steel, this film is so completely addictive. I love it everywhere. I could watch it over and over and over again without getting bored of it. I absolutely love it. The action's amazing, the character's amazing, the story's amazing, the acting's amazing, the score is amazing. Every little thing about it is amazing. I could watch it over and over again, and I want to watch it over and over again. I absolutely adore this film in every way, and I can't stop myself. Please, someone help me. I love it too much. Please, this film's amazing. Honestly, this film is just too good. Okay, so now the positives. Just to get this put out of the way, because it's Zack Snyder, so this should go without saying. The CGI, the fight scenes, cinematography, the way it's all edited together, everything like that is absolutely amazing. It has some of the best action scenes I've ever seen in any comic book film, or any film for that matter. I mean, comic book films tend to have a lot of good action. Certainly better action than most action films now. But this film really does have some great action. It has an incredible car chase scene. Has a couple amazing Batman fights. Two of the best Batman fights there's ever been. Superman's does a lot of cool stuff throughout the film, and obviously the fight between Batman v Superman is amazing. Some people are disappointed with it because it's not like huge, big setup, but not set up as in like set piece with all these different locations, flying through walls, flying in the air, smashing, bashing, laser eyes all over the place, going absolutely ballistic, like at the end of Man of Steel between Superman and Zod. But, you know, it's Batman. He can't get punched through 20 buildings and then hit the ground at 1,000 miles per hour and then be expected to, you know, like, get up and be like, yeah, I'm fine. He would, I mean, something definitely would be bleeding. I hate myself for that. I am extremely sorry. Like, you can insert cricket noises if you want it. Tumbleweeds sort of thing. That was for those who know, you know what I'm on about. I apologise. And also, you know, people criticise Man of Steel because it's like, there's too much destruction, buildings are getting absolutely obliterated, this is bad, oh, so many deaths, and then they complain that in Batman v Superman, that the fight between Batman v Superman people weren't throwing each other through buildings, destroying everything in their path, because they're not happy either way. When it comes to Zack Snyder, there are just some people who, no matter what he does, will be angry about it. He can make a dark, longer, more serious, gritty, realistic take on these heroes. Don't like it. He could do the Marvel thing, make it funny, make it slapstick, make it not serious, more fun, family-friendly sort of thing. They won't like it. He could just not do anything, and still people will use it as an insult. In that, like, oh, nobody wants to work with him, see, he's terrible. No matter what he does, or even doesn't do, people will bash him for it. They'll use it as a weapon to insult himself as a person, not just as a director. You know, oh, you can't just not like his work. You have to target his personal life. I mean, what's wrong with you? If you don't like, you know, an artist's work, you have to shit on everything that happens in their life and make fun of them and bully them into the point where they could get severe depression. You got to do that. Can't just dislike their art. Got to destroy them. According to haters, I don't understand that mentality. Fucking hell. There's a lot of directors or writers I don't think are great. Doesn't mean I bash them for it. I know I bash Joss Whedon, but I don't bash Joss Whedon because he just did Justice League. I bash him for his on-set behaviour, the abuse, the way he treated Zack Snyder, the way Warner Brothers treated Zack Snyder when he was grieving the loss of his daughter, and have continued to treat him since. I don't like that. That's what I don't like. And that's what I talk negatively about. And obviously, you know, I know this is a review for Batman v Superman, but Justice League is its own thing, and I will get to that, and I will rewatch Justice League for my review, just so you know I can get a full grasp, because there might be something I like, oh, that's okay, and there's things that I hate, and I need to remember fully, like, you know, get a fresh idea of what it was, because I haven't watched it in a while, and since Zack Snyder's Justice League has been confirmed, then, you know, it's not exactly like, yes, that's coming out, I've got to watch the theatrical cut 10 more times. Not the case, but, and that's the thing with Zack Snyder, no matter what he does or doesn't do, people will bash him. And it's the same with the Batman v Superman fight. Man of Steel, too much damage, too much destruction. Batman v Superman fight, not enough damage, not enough destruction. No. But I love the Batman, sorry, back onto the topic, I know that was a huge, you know, detractor of what I was talking about, but I just wanted to get my point that people hate him no matter what he does. And what he does with this fight, I love. It's not the big, like, explosion fight, and trying without spoiling it, but it's more of a fight of, sort of like, ideas and traps and luring the other one into where the other one wants them to be, and things like that. And because of that, it works, and I enjoy it. It's more grounded, it's more, and you've also got to, you know, make it so Batman could win. You know, because if Superman just comes at him at 100 miles per hour, you know, 110% power, boom, Batman wouldn't even, like, know he was born. He would just get absolutely fucking obliterated before he even realised Superman was in 100 miles of his vicinity. So it's got to be done in a way where the two characters can fight each other, and there's like a 50-50 chance of each one winning. So they had to do it that way round. And the rest of the action's great. This isn't a spoiler. I would have considered it a spoiler had they not put it in the trailer. It's in the trailer, and the trailer came out 6 years ago, so I can't believe you haven't at least watched a fucking trailer in the last 6 years. So, no offence, I'm going to say it. The Doomsday fight, because, well, a Doomsday is in the film, and that is a great fight as well. CGI, camera angles, editing, everything like that, amazing. Some of the more practical stunt work as well is also really good in every fight, especially one of the Batman fight scenes, which I'll talk about later. Well, there's a fight scene in a warehouse with Batman and against somewhere between 24 and 30 people, and that is an amazing fight. It's probably the best Batman fight that has ever been on screen, so that works. I love that. That is my favourite fight scene in the whole film. It's one of my favourite fight scenes in any film, and I love it. And Zack Snyder again shows that he can do action. He even if you hate him for whatever reason you hate him for, he does amazing action. You can't deny he does amazing action. So yeah, he is fantastic in this film. The cast are incredible in this film. I love the cast. They all play their characters brilliantly. You know, Henry Cavill came back as Superman, amazing Superman. He's amazing in this film. He's now a much more confident in his abilities Superman. He knows what he can and can't do. For the most part, there's probably some things, you know, he could still figure out, but he's much more confident in that sense. But the world now knows of his existence. You know, he is Superman. He's been Superman for somewhere between 18 months and 2 years throughout the main part of the film. And the world knows, obviously, who he is after the events of Man of Steel with a big alien invasion in Metropolis. So it's not like him secretly hiding people anymore. He wears the costume, he flies around, and everybody knows who he is. And like whenever people know what something is, or at least aware that something exists, they all have a fucking opinion on it. And that is the case with no matter what. Politics, religion, which fast food restaurant is the best, everybody has an opinion. And now we live in a society, #Joker, where if you don't agree with whatever it is, if it's somebody else's opinion, or if it's the subject matter itself, fucking hate, you've got to go on a huge rant, you've got to get the news involved, you've got to get debates. You know, is Superman good? Or is he here to destroy us? Is he evil? Does he follow by our rules? Does he follow by his own? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he a god figure or a devil figure? He is just, and then there's this, and that's what the whole point of it is. It's, the world doesn't know how to make it, but it's like 80% don't like him to 20% who do like him. And there are people who like him in the film. You see, in one point, there's people with Superman shirts and going, "Woo, Superman!" But the majority of people don't like him because of the events of Man of Steel. And that's what Zack Snyder wanted. You know, you can't have super godlike beings fight on Earth and then not be some destruction. Especially when one side are a bunch of military-trained, scary nutjobs who are adamant that they're the ones in the right, and are like robots in that they're programmed to do what is best for their society, and anybody who gets in the way can go fuck themselves, including an entire race of people, 7 billion people. That don't matter shit. We're going to wipe them all out because it's what's good for us. Versus a guy who's got the same abilities, is more adapted to our environment, but has literally no training whatsoever. He doesn't, basic shit, like throwing a punch. Whereas these guys are like SAS trained scary people versus Farmer Boy who can, throw a punch. So, of course there's going to be destruction, especially when the Superboy, Farmer Super guy who can throw a punch, has only been a superhero for less than 24 hours in the events of Man of Steel. So he's not exactly like going to come in and be like, yes, I know what I'm going to do. He's going to come in and it'll be like if I went up to a random person, said, okay, here's Superman's powers, here's Superman's costume, aliens with the same powers, but military training, go fight, go on, do a good job. And of course, obviously, he wins at the events of Man of Steel, and they make it logical how he wins. It's not just like plot convenience. Obviously, you could argue it's plot convenience in the sense that it makes the film a good film, they can continue it, and it's not ends on the world ends, but they make it logical. They give it a good reason to why he wins. Whereas now he's more confident, he's more Superman, but the world doesn't like it. And what I love about this, is it shows that in Man of Steel, Superman's dad was right. People will reject him. People will fear him, because we do. Humans are shit. We hate people who have things we don't. We hate people who are richer than us. It makes us angry. We call people, oh, he's a rich twat, isn't he? Just because he's rich. Just because he might have had a good business idea and it paid off, or he made something good and somebody wanted to buy it, or he maybe was born into, or she, they. My friend actually did a TikTok the other day saying how men always say he, and then they go, or she, when they remember that is a, and I just proved that right. I feel really stupid now. They, not he. Sorry. They could have a good idea. They could, whoever they are, wherever they're from, they could have a good idea. Maybe they were born into it. Maybe they earned it themselves. Maybe they won the lottery. But if people didn't want to get rich, they wouldn't buy lottery tickets. The lottery wouldn't want to be a thing. We want more. And we hate anybody who has more than us. So you're going to hate somebody who can fly and do all of these things. And we're also scared of things we don't understand. How many times when somebody sees a fucking object in the sky do they go, oh my god, it's a fucking UFO, we're all going to die, lose our shit, freak out, mass panic. There are so many people who are like that, who just see something and freak the fuck out. Or they hear a noise in their house and there's a burglar, or it's a ghost, or it's something. It's just so like, we've got to freak out over nothing. So how the fuck are people going to react when there's a flying man who can go at the speed of light, laser eyes, and pick up a building with one hand and just go, yeah, doing this with it, just lifting, get some gains, bro. Like, how will people react to that? Obviously, Superman doesn't pick up a building and kill everybody in it by shoving it in the air with his hand, but people would view him like that. He could do that, and that's the point. It's because he could do it. They don't like him, and he's got more in them, and they don't like it, and they don't understand him, and they don't like it. So it's all about fear. It's all about the world. People are scared of Superman. People don't trust him. And one of those people who is scared of him, who hates the fact that he exists, doesn't trust him, and thinks he should be gotten rid of, is the most dangerous human on the planet, Batman. He is terrified of Superman. And that's the point of this film. You've got a guy just trying to do the right thing. He's not a god, like a literal god. He's not God, is he? He's not Satan. He's not a prophet. He's not some power crazy nut job. He's just a guy trying to do the right thing, but because he was born on another planet and he spent all of one day on that planet, he can do all of these abilities which humans can't, and he wants to use those powers to help people. And then you got another person, a man whose entire existence and the reason for what he's doing is because his parents were shot in front of him as a 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy. He's been dressed as, a bat for 20 years, been breaking criminals' bones in the middle of the night, and has, over the course of many, many years, become the world's greatest detective, one of the best fighters in the world, and one of the most intelligent people to ever exist. Doesn't trust this said human/alien. Technically he's an alien, but he's more human than he is alien, and he doesn't like it. And that's where Ben Affleck comes in as Bruce Wayne, also known as the Batman. And he is an amazing Batman. Acted brilliantly. His story's amazing as well. The way it plays out is absolutely fantastic. It's heavily based off Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns Batman, and he's just an amazing Batman in every sense, and I can't praise Ben Affleck enough. He's tied in my top two, him and Christian Bale. It's hard to pick between the two. For me, you might have an obvious choice, but because they're too different. One's starting out, and one's, figuring out and becoming the symbol of fear for the criminals, but hope for the, normal people of Gotham, and he's figuring all of that out. And the other one's 20 years past that. A guy who's broken, beaten, fed up, is completely forgotten why he started doing it in the first place, and he's just out to cause a fuck ton of problems for people he doesn't agree with, one of those being Superman. But I'll get back to him in a minute. I just wanted to say the rest of the returning cast, you got Amy Adams as Lois Lane, amazing in this film. She has in the Ultimate Edition, a really good subplot of investigating certain things which I won't spoil. Amazing. Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne's back, and he has a lot of screen time and a lot of great dialogue. He has a few little, he's part of each character, Clark's main plot and Lois's subplot, and he's amazing in both of those aspects.
This Bat vigilante has been consistently targeting the port and the adjacent projects and tenements, and as far as I can tell, the cops are actually helping him.
Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
And you've got Diane Lane come back as Superman's mum, and she's amazing, has a lot of good speeches again. One of my favourites being, people fear what they don't understand, you don't owe this world a thing. All of that, absolutely amazing. And there's a scene in the Ultimate Edition where he calls his mum in the middle of the night because he's feeling down, because he was like watching the late night news and everybody's discussing if he should exist, if he should be allowed to help, is he a good person, a bad person. He's feeling down because that's what the media does, isn't it? No matter what it is, they just like to twist things into how they view it, and it's happening to him, and he can't take it. He's struggling like his dad knew he would. And this film proves, had he done this at the age of 15, he'd have fucking lost his shit. He would have probably gone ballistic and murdered a bunch of people, because he wouldn't be able to handle it. He would become depressed, he wouldn't trust people, it would make him really angry, and the dad was right to, try and contain it, which sounds sad, and it was heartbreaking for both, Clark, but more so for the dad as well, because telling your son that if people knew who you were, they would hate you. Could you imagine telling your son that? Literally sitting your son down and going, son, don't be yourself, otherwise people want to kill you. Can you imagine that? Just imagine saying that to your son. And unfortunately he was right, and this film shows it. And there's a great scene where he calls his mum middle of the night, and his mum answers the phone, and it's really nice, because it's the type of thing that you would hope a good mum would do. I mean, a good mum would do it, and it's the type of thing you would hope that any mum would do for their child, even when they're in their mid-30s and, has sort of their own family going on. I know he didn't have children, but, he's got a relationship with Lois, a serious relationship, living together sort of thing. And you would, even though you'd expect him to be starting his own family and all of these things, you would still hope that if a son or a daughter or whoever son or daughter called their mum in the middle of the night, really stressed, you would hope they would, be on the phone and talk about their problems till they made them feel better. And she does it, and it's just really nice and really sweet, and it's a lovely little moment. So the returning people do amazing. Superman's story, how it continues from the events of Man of Steel. He's more confident in his abilities, but he's less confident in how the world views him, because people are bashing him all the time. And you got the subplots with Lois doing her investigation as well, amazing. And then you got Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne, great. And then you get to the film's main villain, Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg. I fucking love Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Get triggered, get angry, throw your temper tantrum out, throw your temper tantrum, throw your computer out the fucking window. I don't give a shit. I love Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. He's amazing. He's a more realistic, modern take on Lex Luthor. You know, he's not this super rich businessman with like, oh, I talk in serious voice and I own all these corporations. He's like the young sort of techno genius billionaire who's been given loads of money at a really young age by his dad, who was abusive towards him and has given him this huge complex and that he has to be better than everyone else. And because of that, it works. It works really well. I think you give somebody a complex, he's got to be better than everyone else, right? He is the best. What the fuck is he going to do when Superman comes along? No matter what Lex does, he will never be more powerful than Superman. Even if he tripled his money, there is nothing he can be that will be better than Superman. He don't fucking like that. So he's the main villain. And also, minor spoilers, his dad was abusive towards him as a young boy. Like, horrible. And he would it's implied that he would pray to God very often for God to come and save him, take him out of this horrible abusive relationship, that he has with this, take him away from this dad who doesn't care about him. And obviously nothing ever happened. So now comes this God to Earth, and Lex hates it. And there's this line in this film, and I'm going to say it because it's, taking out the context of the scene. And Lex says something that, even though you don't have to agree with it, you sit there and it's such a powerful line, and you're like, oh my God. You see where he's coming from. And it's, if God can be all powerful, if God is good, he cannot be all powerful. And if God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. Because there's problems with the world. And you're like, whoa, that's very a deep thing to say. And because humans have perceived Superman to be a god on Earth, he's applying the same logic to Superman. You're selfish. You're this. I don't like you. You're just in it for whatever reason. I don't like you. I don't trust you. And I'm better. I'm the best humanity has to offer. I am the god of this. I am the person who should be in charge, not you. And because he's this young, crazy person with clear, issues, he does have the little tics. There's a scene where he's giving a speech, and then he forgets what he's saying, and then he gets, really... You see his, character crack throughout the film, as he comes off as this nice guy, oh yes, playing basketball with his employees, really nice, making jokes, being really polite to everybody. Hi, how you doing? Handshake, nice to meet you. You doing good? Oh, I'm glad you're doing good. And his character breaks when you finally get to see how many problems he's got. Because he's giving a speech at one point, and he forgets what he's saying. And he's talking, and he's like, no, what was it saying? What is a really bittersweet truth among men is that you can have knowledge without power, because that is paradoxical. And everybody's looking at him like, whoa, where did that come from? And he's like, thank you for coming, and walks off the stage because he's breaking. It's what he's talking about himself. He's got the knowledge, but he wants Superman's power. So his character breaks that he can't have both, and he's letting his character slip. And it is, before people say, it's not comic book accurate. It is, actually. There is a version of Superman. I can't remember, and I will Google what it was, but at this second I can't remember. There is a version of Lex Luthor, which in the comics is a lot like this version. Younger, long hair, a bit more wiry. He's nothing like the Riddler. Jesus Christ, if you say he's like the Riddler in this film, you don't know a lot about Riddler. Even I know that he's not like Riddler. And if you say he's like Jim Carrey Riddler, when was the last time you watched Batman Forever? Because Jesse Eisenberg might be a bit erratic and be a bit loud and a bit, but at no point does he do anything like this.
Caffeine will kill ya! More power! to someone and nothing to everyone else. You're mine, baby! And now mine pumps with the power of yours. Sucking up your IQ. Vacuuming the cortex. Feeding off your brain.
They may have trouble adapting to their new environment.
You know, sorry, it's based off Secret Origins Lex Luthor. Amazing, brilliant. I love Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. His character's amazing, his motive is there, and it works brilliantly. And people criticise his over-convoluted plan. It's not overly convoluted. It's, he just adapts it to suit the situation, because the situation changes a lot throughout the film. So he adapts his plan, not creates one huge plan that requires a bunch of small little things to happen. He changes his plan throughout the film to make it work to whatever's happened, which is brilliant, because, you know, if you only set up one plan and you can't adapt it if things don't go 110% your way all the time, you'll fail. So having a villain whose plan actually changes throughout the film is amazing. And it's not like, oh, we'll just change, he'll change, no, we'll attack there instead. No, it's like changes every time something happens, because it doesn't play out 100% the way you planned, or there could be another factor, so you've got to factor that in, and it works. He has got a brilliant plan. Ben Affleck is an amazing Batman, as I said earlier. This version's based off the Dark Knight Returns Batman, so he's a lot older, he's broken, and here's the thing. People said Zack Snyder doesn't understand Batman. He's fucked Batman up. He can't get him right. He's awful. Shouldn't direct another film. He can't do Batman. What the fuck is he doing? No, shut up. Just shut up. Really. Doesn't understand Batman. He's made possibly the most comic book accurate Batman there is. It's just because it wasn't a comic book that you fucking read, you don't like it. It makes you flip shit. But if you want a comic book accurate Batman, this is the Batman you get. You don't get Michael Keaton Batman. You don't get Val Kilmer Batman. You fucking don't get George Clooney Batman. You don't get Christian Bale well, sort of, yeah, but Ben Affleck is the most comic book accurate Batman in this sense. It follows one version of Batman the most. The others aren't inaccurate because comic book accuracy isn't a fucking thing. Batman, the first Batman, you know, the first time Batman came out, the first time Batman was released to the public was 1939. Right? 82 years ago was the first time Batman ever appeared in a comic book. How many adaptations has he had? In the first comic book, Batman murdered a person. He dropped him in a vat of acid, and when someone pointed out to him, he went, "Good riddance." Like, so yeah, okay, first ever Batman comic, well, it was Detective Comics, it wasn't actually a Batman comic, but first comic with Batman in it, he murdered a guy, and you're telling me Batman doesn't kill people? In his first appearance, he murdered someone. And then he killed people for 2 years after that with fucking guns. Batman don't use guns, well he fucking did, didn't he? It's because the Comic Code Authority said, you can't show violence, it has to be family friendly. Did they turn Batman into a person that doesn't kill? But they also did that with everybody else. They also made everybody else light-hearted. It wasn't just Batman. But it's because the whole no-kill thing became quite a popular thing in the character, and he had it for quite a long time, that people didn't flip shit whenever they do anything differently. However, then Frank Miller came along in the 1980s with The Dark Knight Returns, made Batman kill a person, shot him in the face with a gun. Shot a person in the face with a gun and then broke Joker's neck. And even though technically some people say, well, Joker actually then broke his own neck, it is also a theory that Batman broke his neck and Joker talking, because the way it was written, the colour of his speech was actually the same colour they used for when somebody was internally thinking and not actually talking out loud. So it's basically saying Batman murdered Joker, and and he's imagining Batman joking and finishing himself off to justify why Batman's just broken the Joker's neck. Because Batman doesn't want to do that. And here's the thing, and I agree with this. Batman shouldn't kill. That's the thing. Not that he doesn't, he shouldn't. And the people who act, so, say Batman doesn't kill, this film shows Batman acts like it shows Batman just mowing people down with a huge fucking Gatling gun, and he's like, yeah, whilst the music is like really happy about it, and then they're like, yeah, that was fucking cool. That's not what happened. Every time Batman kills somebody in this film, it shows it in a negative light. He shouldn't be doing it. That's why Superman doesn't like him. He shouldn't be killing people. That is the point. And Zack Snyder's right when he said, this.
Here's a sort of slight potential spoiler of sorts, but I wanted to know why you decided to allow Batman to kill within this picture.
I tried to do it in that sort of technical way. So, I tried to do it like by proxy. He'd shoot the car that they're in, the car would blow up, or the grenade would go off in the guy's hand, or whatever. Or he'd shoot the tank of the thing, and the guy pretty much lights his own tank with the thing. So I perceive it as not him killing directly, but by sort of, if the bad guys are associated with the thing that happens to blow up, that's not really. He would see that. He would say that that's not really my problem. Like they shouldn't have been around that
sort of
machine gun. What's that?
It's like manslaughter.
Yeah, a little more like manslaughter than actual murder.
Yeah.
It's Batman isn't straight up murdering people. He's not caring if people are in his way. Superman is going to be his first direct, going to look him in the eyes whilst I choke the life out of him sort of murder. The other people is just like, well, got a gun, going to blow the gun up. If he don't fucking leave, his problem. Throw a grenade at me, well, fuck you, grenade back, get blown up. It's that sort of thing. And if you're going to get really angry, and say Batman shouldn't kill people and Zack Snyder should never direct another film again, okay, well, you should, say the same thing about Michael Keaton Batman. He killed a lot of people. Don't get angry about that. What about in Batman Begins when, in the Dark Knight trilogy, what happens in Batman Begins when Batman Begins when Batman let Ra's al Ghul die?
You finally learn to do what is necessary. I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
Or in The Dark Knight, when Batman pushed Harvey Dent off a building. Or in The Dark Knight Rises, when he basically threatened Bane, saying, I'm going to kill you later on, and then proceeded to then fire rockets at Talia al Ghul's lorry, so it then crashed, in which he died because of the crash.
Tell me where the trigger is. Then you have my permission to die.
And Val Kilmer, you know, in the Batman Feather Schumacher cut, Harvey Dent Two-Face says to Batman, "You're a murderer as well," because he has killed people.
Aren't you forgetting something, Harvey? Your coin. You're always of two minds about everything.
Yes, of course, you're right, Bruce. Emotion's always the enemy of true justice. Thank you. You've always been a good friend.
And he shouldn't. That isn't, you know, Batman murdering people is not a good thing, because anybody murdering anybody is not a good thing. But it works for the sense of this story, because it's not portraying it in a good way. Batman's old. You know, let's look at Batman. Been Batman for 20 years. How much fucked up shit do you think Batman's seen in 20 years? He'd have seen dead children, people who have been brutally murdered, people who have been raped, massive, like, drug operations going on, hitmen, serial killers, things like that. You'd have seen a lot of fucked up shit in 20 years for him to slightly start, you know, really going, oh god. Robin's dead. Robin was beaten with a crowbar and burnt to death inside Wayne Manor by Joker. So now Robin's dead. His adoptive son is now dead because of him, because it got him involved. He burnt to death by Joker, and also Wayne Manor is now destroyed. Apparently his wife or girlfriend, because Zack Snyder said wife and then said girlfriend, or, you know, I don't know what their relationship is, but a strong relationship with Catwoman is now over. So he's got no relationship, his adoptive son's dead, his house is gone, he's seen loads of fucked up shit, he's being betrayed by people, because there's one point where he says how many good guys are left, how many stayed that way. And of course, the whole point he started being Batman was because his parents were murdered in front of him. And he's been doing it for 20 years, and nothing seems to be working, and they all just come back and cause more problems, and more people die because he didn't kill them. And now fucking god beings are coming down to Earth and causing huge masses of destruction and fight, and all of, you know, that's the big problem. So he feels insignificant. There's a point in the film where he says, essentially, that the last 20 years of being Batman was fucking pointless. Killing Superman might be the only thing I do that matters and could actually help people, because my efforts as Batman for the last 20 years has done absolutely fuck all, which isn't true. He would have helped a lot of people, but he's in a self-deprecating, old, popping pills, drinking wine, all like for breakfast, and, you know, sleeping with loads of women, because there's actually quite funny, there's a shot where he wakes up after a nightmare, and there's a woman next to him, and you never see her leave, he doesn't acknowledge her, she never talks, she doesn't even fucking wake up. It's just like a thing that you notice, because that doesn't need to tell you everything. You should be able to fucking figure things out for yourself. But he's just this guy who sleeps around, takes painkillers, and washes them down with heavy alcohol, you know, at all times of the day, and then goes to the gym to just exercise all his anger out before dressing up in a old tattered up batsuit, going around just kicking the absolute shit and breaking bones and stuff. And that's another thing actually I wanted to mention. When you watch Batman, this film does something really ballsy, and I fucking love this. It's dark as shit, but it's amazing. Most Batman films, what's the opening criminal? What's the first thing? Oh, it's a drug dealer. Oh, it's a bank robber. Oh, it's something like that. And if it maybe it's something serious like a murderer, but it portrays it in a not so serious way. You know, it portrays maybe the murder is a bit kooky or is a bit weird. It's not like super serious. It doesn't take itself seriously. The first person you see Batman beat the shit out of in this film is a sex trafficker. Like, that's so different and it's grim, and I'm not, you know, saying it's cool. Like, obviously, sex traffickers in real life are atrocious, awful, terrible fucking human beings. But that's the thing, that it's a good. It sets the world that this Batman lives in. It's not the supervillain. It's not Mr. Freeze or Bane or Scarecrow's doing some crazy shit or robbing a bank in a really over the top way. Go stop them, Batman. Yes, okay, boom, woo, stop them. No, it's not that. It's a fucking sex trafficker with a bunch of kidnapped women from Asia somewhere. I don't know specifically where. And that's the other thing as well. Most superheroes get, most people get saved by superheroes, and they're like, yes, you're my hero. Thank you so much. They get saved by Batman, and they don't want to leave the fucking cell they're locked in. Seriously, they would rather the women who are being kidnapped and going to get sold as slaves or whatever are terrified to leave their cell that they've been locked in because they're more fucking scared about the guy who's just come to save them than they are the fucking guy who's kidnapped them and put them in there in the first place. And that's the thing with Batman. And you've got to realise this. Batman is not a superhero. I mean, he is. He's a comic book character. He's a superhero. But he's not your Spider-Man. He's not your Iron Man. He's not your Captain America. He's not your Superman. He's not your Wonder Woman. That isn't what he is. He's a guy. And here's the thing, just as a bat, you would laugh at it, it's ridiculous. He has an actual logical, makes sense reason. Because you're meant to be fucking scared of him. If you're a criminal, you're terrified of this guy. Guy goes around middle of the night fucking breaking legs, locking you up. I mean, he even brands people now. So, brands you like a fucking cow. And if you're caught in prison with a bat brand, you're murdered. And even though that turns out to be something later on which I won't spoil, I assume that the logic behind that was, well, if Batman's branded you, that probably means you're a paedophile or you're a mass murderer, terrible human being. That's why you're in there. And because Batman's branded you, prisoners want to kill them. Because, paedophiles, mass murderers, not liked in prison. So, it's probably that sort of logic. I mean, I'm guessing that, but that's what I would assume the whole, if you've got the bat brand, people would want to kill you for. Otherwise, that is a bit random, but that's my interpretation of why people don't like the bat brand, is because that means you're a truly, truly terrible person. And he's a sex trafficker, so Batman is going to ban him. So, yes, it works in the sense that Batman's a guy who dresses up at night. And the reason why he dresses up as a bat is because he says, if you're a man, if you're just a normal person, they're not going to take you seriously, they're going to kill you, you can get killed and it doesn't matter. But dressing up as a bat, not allowing people to see that it's a costume, breaking limbs, destroying, now branding and killing a few people, how terrifying is that? Imagine you're like a drug dealer, or don't be a drug dealer, but just for the context of what I'm saying. Imagine you're a drug dealer hiding in your little apartment with your drug dealing friends. Imagine if you found out that a guy a fellow piece of shit, was just the previous night had all their arms and legs broken by a flying bat creature and is now in prison. Well, that would fucking freak you out. And that's the whole point of Batman. He's not a superhero in the sense that you're meant to like him. He's a superhero in that you're meant to be terrified of him. He's terrifying. And Ben Affleck does that so well. And he's, like I said, the most heavily inspired of one version of Batman. Dark Knight Returns Batman. Amazing. And there's so many little shots. That's the thing. There's so many Easter eggs to these comic books, including actual just pure visual references to The Dark Knight Returns, and dialogue and sequences just taken from it. Not stolen like in he's just using that. No, in a good way for the fans to go. So saying Zack Snyder doesn't understand comic books, doesn't understand Batman, you don't understand comic books, because comic books have been around for decades. They're not all one thing. And sometimes you can't do the original version, because there's some characters out there who are fucking bad. In terms, not just wrong, just socially wrong. Sexist, racist, have phobias of things that are bad or abuse. There are superheroes you couldn't adapt the original versions of because they have such big flaws, and you can't market that, obviously. Not saying Batman specifically. I mean, there's just things like that. Captain America being one of them. you know, there is I'm not going to say it, but there is a comic book out there where, as far as I know, where Captain America says some not very nice thing about Japanese people. So you couldn't do that. You couldn't make the MCU Captain America fucking racist, could you? That would be terrible. So, you know, but comic books, because they've been around for so long, because they're so... It's like saying Zack Snyder doesn't understand Robin Hood. There's so many versions of Robin Hood. There's no one version of Robin Hood, is there? So saying that he doesn't understand Batman's a bit fucking extreme, especially as he has made the most comic book accurate Batman, in the sense that it follows one version the most faithfully, whereas other versions a little bit take a bit from that, take a bit from this, you know. And that's good. Try to make your own thing. But it's just a funny criticism, considering it is the most comic book accurate. But he doesn't understand the comics, doesn't understand Batman. To me, it just comes across as a bit, you know, silly. So anyway, Lex amazing villain, Ben Affleck's an amazing Batman, Superman's an amazing Superman, Amy Adams is amazing Lois Lane, Lawrence Fishburne's an amazing Perry White, Diane Lane's amazing Martha Kent. You know, if you watch BVS, you can understand why I found that funny that I forgot what the mum was called. Seriously, if you watch BVS, please tell me you just realise me forgetting what Superman's mum is called for a second is actually kind of funny. So, sorry, that's frightened me for a second, but I forgot what Superman's mum was called in Batman v Superman. Oh my god. I don't know where the fuck my mind was there. I was like, Superman's mum. Don't pause, just try and come up with it quickly. Fucking idiot. Really? Like, anyway. So yeah, you know, the characters that were in the previous film, their stories follow on really well, and the characters who, this is their first film in the sense of, like, in this universe, in this continuity, have an amazing introduction. So, brilliant. The heart and story, the character development, the emotional moments are as good as the emotional moments in Man of Steel. There's so many good speeches, amazing bits of dialogue, you know. I like inspirational pieces, speeches. Try not to spoil it, but with Alfred and Batman, Alfred basically saying to Batman, "You're losing your way," and there's a speech where he basically says, "That's how it starts, the fever, the rage, the feeling of helplessness, that turns good men cruel." Fucking love that. That's amazing. Yeah, that is like, whoa, that's so good. And then, like, the scenes, like I said earlier, with Superman and his mum. There's this really emotional scene, and it's actually the first real scene between Clark and Lois. There was a brief interaction earlier, but the first time they actually, you know, sit and talk. Lois is in the bath, and Superman walks in, and that sounds, yeah. Well, it actually does go that direction, but you didn't show it because, you know, it's for the kids. It's not for the kids. But she says, "I don't know if it's possible," and he goes, "What's possible? For me, for you to love me and to be you." Can you imagine? This whole film is about the emotion. It's about, can Superman do this? You know, his dad was right. He just wants to do the right thing, and the world, the realistic world, the world that we fucking live in, hates him for it, bullies him, debates if he's a terrorist or a nice person, gives horrible accusations to make him sound like some form of Nazi psychopath. And that's the thing, there's also a subplot going on as well, which is much better in the Ultimate Edition fixed this with something that happened in Africa where Superman's getting the blame for. And that's the thing, if you're going to watch this, watch the Ultimate Edition because it fixes the plot and everything. Is Superman, can he do this? Can he do the right thing? Can he have a loving, you know, relationship and marry the woman he wants to be with for the rest of his life? Can he, you know, be a good son to his mum? Can he do all of these things and be Superman, save people, whilst the world's ridiculing him, bashing him, 24/7, just all the time. And can, you know, and then you got Batman on the other side of the coin, brooding, dark, miserable, alone, terrified, dreams about his parents. You know, the opening of the film is a speech saying Batman narrating to the audience about how he's fallen from grace, and he calls the Batman a beautiful lie, a flawed thing, and he has nightmares about his internal bat demon, you know, the demon of the Batman, and how he failed to save his mum. Still can't believe I forgot what Superman's fucking name was. Superman's mum's fucking name was, sorry. See? I didn't even again. What the fuck is... I still can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, so, yeah, that's just... It's just so, like, you've got one side a guy trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be Superman. And then you've got a Batman who's no longer Batman. He's just this broken old man trying to justify his own means. And it is an amazing thing. And the plot, like the main story with the little subplots that bring it all together, with Lex Luthor being the mastermind of everything going on, portrayed brilliantly by Jesse Eisenberg, is amazing. And I love it. The plot is just brilliant. The subplots are fantastic. Some of the best subplots I've ever seen in a comic book. Well, probably the best subplots, apart from maybe Watchmen. But that's also a Zack Snyder film, so... You know, there you go. He does subplots really well. Like 300 as well. Some great subplots in that. So yeah, the main plot itself is amazing. The characters and how the characters develop is amazing. The real world setting is amazing, and the acting is amazing. Another thing's amazing is Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL's score. I listen quite regularly to, I'm not going to list all of them, to 6 pieces of music from the score. I listen to really regularly. I love them. The score is amazing. Can't wait for Junkie XL's score in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So yeah. I'm trying to sum it up. I know I'm talking a lot. It's very hard to talk about this from a non-spoiler sense, considering how you almost need to spoil it to defend it, to make people realise it's a good film, if that makes sense. It's so hard to do, because it's 3 hours long, 2 hours of which is plot and character, and only an hour of which is action. So you've got an hour, yeah, the action's amazing, but the plot itself is very hard to talk about because there's so much about it without spoiling it. So, yeah, those are my positives there. I'm now going to get into some spoiler things I need to talk about, like proper spoiler things, because it's so hard to talk about. And I know I wasn't going to do an analysis video, but this is so hard. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to have to do that now. So I'm now going to get into some spoiler review stuff because it's so hard to talk about without spoiling it. So, you know, this is a lot harder than I thought it'd be. The video is an hour long already from terms of like how I'm viewing it at the moment. Obviously when I edit it I don't know how long it is at the moment, but I've been talking for over an hour, so yeah, it's very difficult to talk about. So I'm going to have to talk about some spoiler stuff now. So anyway, if you haven't watched it, go to the timestamp here, or if you don't care, you know, you can continue watching it, but I'll be talking about some spoiler stuff now. Sorry, I know this video is going on long, but I've got to talk about this film, because it's just so much to talk about, and I need to talk about some spoiler stuff before I end it, so, you know, I'll be doing that now. Sorry, I had to stop for a minute, because my camera battery was nearly dead, so I didn't want to get, you know, halfway through something, get really into it, and then it just go boop, and that'll be me done, and then have to wait an hour. So, you know, sorry about that. Anyway, talking about, you know, the little spoilery sort of things. One of my favourite scenes of the film is on the top of the mountain with Clark and his dad. I love that scene. The whole sort of the speech he gives about when he was a boy and he helped his dad stop the flood at their farm, and by, you know, digging so the water went upstream and then washed away somebody else's farm and their horses drowned, and that's really sad. and the dad was saying, how his mum made him a cake saying he was a hero, and whilst he ate his hero cake, the other farmers' horses were drowning. And it's sort of like saying that you can do one good thing, and people can, love you for it because you've saved them, but it can cause other problems for other people. And those people aren't going to like you for it. And there'll be other problems, that exist in the world, and you can't solve every single one of them. Because that's the thing, even Superman can't. You can't say that Superman can solve all the world's problems, because people wouldn't want him to, either. He can save, a burning building, and he saves the people living in the building, or if there's a terrorist, he can stop the terrorist, things like that. But he's not going to save everybody being mugged. He's not going to save everybody in an abusive relationship. He's not going to... He can't, because he can't. He can't do all of that, because he doesn't know. He might be Superman, he might be able to fly around, but he can't... He's not literally God. He's not omnipotent. He's not... can, see everyone's past, present and future. He's not... He's a guy trying to do as much as he can with what he can do, which is, a lot. I mean, more than a lot, but he can't do everything. And people will judge him for what he does do. Is it a better thing that he did it, or has it somehow made it worse? Is it good intention, is it bad intention? And I love that speech, and I love the whole, when he asked, did the nightmares ever stop? And he said, when I met your mum, she's the one who taught me there's good in the world, and there's still good in this world. She was my world. And at the end, when Superman realises that at that moment he's going to have to stop Doomsday no matter what, and there's probably a 90% chance that he isn't going to be walking away from it, he says to Lois, this is my world, you are my world. Basically saying, no matter what, I'm going to protect this world. And you're the reason I'm happy, you are my world, he loves her, that sort of thing.
I love you.
No, Clark, you can't.
This is my world.
No, Clark, don't.
You are my world.
No. Please, God!
And he, sacrifices himself to stop Doomsday. He does die. And not, dies for 1 minute, bring him back to life in a really obvious way. He's dead. Superman, at the end of BVS, is dead. He dies in Batman vs. Superman. Dawn of Justice, both theatrical cut and Ultimate Edition. So, that doesn't change no matter what version you watch. And that's quite, heavy. That's quite a deep thing for a comic book film, especially when Superman is, in the title, Batman v Superman. And, 2 films into the DCEU, or Snyderverse, or Warnerverse, or however the fuck you want to set it at. And that's quite a deep thing for that to happen. And it makes sense, and I like it, because you need a reason for the Justice League to be formed. Superman's gone. That's a fucking good reason. You need a reason for the Suicide Squad to be formed, because that's the next film along. That's a fucking good reason as well. You need a reason for people to realise that they were wrong about Superman, that he is there to do the good thing. He's the hero. He is the person you need to save the world. Him sacrificing his life for the sake of humanity is a fucking good reason. And it just adds to the whole thing that this is Superman. I have an argument with somebody I know when talking about Batman vs Superman. He said he didn't like how Superman was portrayed in it, because Superman does the right thing no matter what. And now you have that argument, and I know what they're referring to. There's the bits where he's depressed, he doesn't know if he should be doing it, and there's a scene in the film where he has to go reflect for 10 minutes. Literally, it's a 10-minute sequence. There's 10 minutes between him going, I don't know if I can be Superman, to yes, I will be Superman. Literally 10 minutes. So I don't know where the fuck this, like, sort of, like, it's not like Spider-Man 2 level where it's like 40 minutes of the film. He's not Spider-Man anymore. And it's over the course of, over a month. So I don't know where this sort of, he's not Superman for a day. In the film, he's not Superman for one day. It's not exactly like he took a massively long holiday and in that time 10 million people died. Literally nothing happened in that one. In fact, it's not even like a day. It's 24 hours. I know 24 hours is a day, but it's not like he takes a whole day off. It's like evening to evening, if that makes sense. It's not like, well, not doing anything today, sits at home pyjamas. It's the middle of the night. He then leaves because he decides at the middle of the night, and then sort of like comes back late the next night. So, yeah, no, 24 hours is, I'm trying to describe it the best way possible. It's not like he, I don't know how long. It's probably less than 24 hours because it was the middle of the night, and then it was during the day the next day, and then he comes back. The speech that his dad gave him was during the day, and then it was night time when he came back, back. So it wasn't really like he did, and if you want to use the logic, he does the thing no matter what. You're almost saying he fucked off and didn't come back, but that isn't what happened. He left for like one day, and then came back, and then sacrificed himself. So it's a bit of a weird argument because he did do the right thing. And obviously there's the whole him have to fight Batman to save his mum, and there was actually a deleted scene, and I like this. Part of me wishes that they kept it in because it would make the idiot shut up, but it doesn't matter because if you think about, they're saying, well, why didn't Superman just fly around the city looking for his mum with his X-ray vision? Well, he actually did. He did do that. That is confirmed that Superman, between Lex saying fight Batman and him going to fight Batman, he for about 20 minutes was looking for his mum, and there was a scene where he was flying around and he was having to ignore people begging for help, people being attacked, things like that, and it was breaking his heart because he was having to he was being selfish, he was putting his mum's life before other people, and hence the whole nobody stays good in this world speech when it got to Lois. And that's the thing, between Lex, you watch BVS and Lex goes, you had an hour. Now it's less, but by less it was like 4 minutes less. And then when it cuts to his mum, it's like 34 minutes on the clock. So for 22 minutes he's been flying around looking for his mum and then can't find her, and he doesn't have a lot of time. And that's why he says he's going to have to go to Batman to convince him to help me, because at that point he's got like half an hour. So he hasn't got time to fuck around to try and hope to find her. He's got to do the best solution at that time. And when they fight, I love the fight. I love the way it's done. It's not the big. It starts off with Superman not really wanting to fight Batman, trying to convince him, but it's going out one ear and out the other because Batman's not interested in whatever the fuck Superman has to say. He's like, bitch, I'm here to kill you. Shut up. And Superman's not really fighting him, like he flicks him, and when he flicks him he does go like back by about 20 feet, or more, but it's Superman not wanting to commit to killing Batman, and then Batman will not stop.
You don't understand. There's no time.
I understand.
And by the time Superman almost does commit to killing Batman, Batman's gassed him with a kryptonite grenade. So Superman can't really kill him, and then he, gasses him again with another kryptonite grenade. And at that point, Superman's body's malfunctioning. He's sort of muscle, spasms, can't control his body, and he's coughing, and he's like going to be sick, and he can't use his powers, and he's dripping with sweat, which is unusual for Superman. He's like he's got a severe. Well, obviously, it's kryptonite. That's what kryptonite does. But it's made him like he's got some form of like really big poison, because it is poison to him. And obviously, I know that. I'm not dumb. So he can't do a lot. It's like somebody trying to fight somebody whilst after having been bitten by a snake. You know, it's poisoning him, so he can't do a lot. Even when he's no longer in direct contact with him, it's in his system. He's breathed it in. It will be being pumped around his body. So, just to say, if there's a comic book film where that's not how it works, don't bash me. But he's inhaled it. It's gas, so it would be more effective than being held with it, because he's breathed it in. That's actually a line. Batman says, "Breathe it in."
Breathe it in. That's fear. You're not brave. Men are brave.
So he gets, Batman wins the Batman v Superman fight. You've watched it, or you don't give a shit. So he wins. And then that scene, the scene? The Martha scene. Why did you say that name? Now you ask a hater, describe the Martha scene. And they say, Batman becomes friends with Superman because their mums share the same name. Well, if you say it like that, at no point in the film did Batman go, why did you say that name? And then Lois says his mother's name. Batman doesn't go, oh, your mum's name's Martha. But my mum's also name's Martha. Oh, that's awesome. Do you want to get shawarma? I'm buying. Woohoo! He doesn't do that. It's not like he doesn't go, yeah, friends. Woo! Let's buy How It Should Have Ended did that. They showed them at the coffee shop, which I thought was quite funny, because the whole How It Should Have Ended is about Batman and Superman always in a coffee shop. So I found that quite funny, but that's not what happened in the film. They don't go and get shawarma, coffee, takeaway. They don't watch, Mean Girls or something together. That's not how the events unfold. But that's how a hater would claim they do. What actually happens is Batman's about to fucking stomp on Superman's neck and is like, I'm now going to kill you. And Superman says, save Martha. Now, had he said save my mum, like some people said, Batman would have been like, well, no, fuck off. Because that doesn't mean anything to him at that moment. That wouldn't register. Because nothing else is registered. Clark said so many things by this point. And Batman, like a minute ago, he gave a speech saying, I bet your parents taught you that you mean something, that you were sent here for a reason. My parents taught me a different lesson, dying in the gutter for no reason at all. My parents taught me that the world only makes sense if you force it to.
I bet your parents taught you that you mean something. That you're here for a reason. My parents taught me a different lesson. Dying in the gutter for no reason at all. They taught me the world only makes sense if you force it to.
So he clearly doesn't give a shit, no matter what Clark says. However, he said, doesn't give a shit. So he said save Martha, because that makes it a person. Now, I don't know if he knew that Bruce's parents mum was called Martha, and I don't even know if he did know if he would realise what effect that would have on Batman. But the whole point Batman's Batman is because his parents were murdered in front of him. That was the starting point. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons since, why he's the way he is. Like I said, relationship ended, son dead, house burnt down, seen some shit. All of that, since then. But that's the sole core reason. If you were to strip away everything else, that Batman is Batman, because his parents were murdered in front of him at a young age. And it's his way of trying to deal with it and use it as a driving force to help other people and beat the shit out of scary people. And that's his driving force. So him saying save Martha stopped Batman. It didn't mean he wasn't going to kill him. He paused because he had a PTSD moment. Now, I don't claim to know a lot about PTSD, but you see soldiers come from, war, and they hear a trigger word, or even a literal trigger, a gunshot, and they freeze. Some of them freeze. Some of them panic because it sets off a memory. And that's what sort of happens with Batman. He hears the word Martha, and it's made abundantly clear throughout the film that his mum's Martha. And it's then revealed why it's set up to his mum. It's because it makes him pause and makes him think, why is he saying... And that's why he's saying, why are you saying that name? Well, he doesn't go, why are you saying that name? He goes, why are you saying that name? And that's become a bit of a meme because the massive aggression coming from his voice. I like it. I think it is really, it's full of emotion. And I love that scene. And then Lois says it's his mother's name. It's his mother's name. Batman doesn't go, oh, your mum's name was my mother, we're friends. No, that's not what happens. He then realises in that moment that he was going to kill somebody who was in the exact same position he was in when he was a little boy. Superman's not begging, don't kill me. He's not begging for Bruce to even stop. He's just saying, find him, save Martha, save his mum. The same way Bruce wanted to do the same thing when he was young. And he realised he was going after this alien, this abomination of a creature, this threat to humanity. And when he finally put that threat to humanity in a situation where he can beat him, where he can kill him, the first thing that alien does, that inhuman abomination, threat to humanity, got to destroy it. And the first thing that weapon does is beg Batman to save another human life, which then Batman realises is his mum, Superman's mum that he wants to save. And he realises that after years of trying to stop the men with the gun, the man with the gun, like when he was a little boy, wanted to stop the man with the gun, and he couldn't, and he's spent his whole life trying to redeem the fact that he couldn't stop that man with the gun, so he's going to stop every other person who, harms someone else, or is trying to, or, has a negative impact on the overall world. He now realises he's the man with the gun. Almost literally, it's a spear, but he's now the one with the helpless victim, with the weapon, staring them dead in the eyes, and he's going to get his parents killed, his mum killed. And he realises the thing that makes the alien the most upset in that situation is the fact that his mum's going to die. Not that he's had the absolute shit kicked out of him. He's got a massive guy in a bat costume, standing on his throat, and he's about to be shoved, have a, kryptonite spear shoved in his face. It's the fact that he's lost the fight, meaning his mum's going to get set on fire. And Batman realises at that moment what he's been doing for the last however many months trying to kill Superman. He realises the road he's gone full. He's now on the other side of the coin. He's now the murderer. He's now the criminal. You see it in his face. You cannot look at this guy's face and say, this is the guy who's like, well, mum shared the same name. This is the guy who's realised he was going to make the biggest mistake of his entire life. Beginning Joker, getting what the worst thing he's ever done, he was about to do. And then, he's not friends with Superman. He says this, and I love this scene, when he says, I'm going to make you a promise, Martha won't die tonight. And it's Batman wanting to redeem himself for the fact he couldn't save his mum. He wants to save Superman's mum. And then you get to the warehouse fight, which is my favourite fight in the whole film. My favourite fight probably ever. I was going to say, if there was a top 5 film, I don't know what would be exactly in my top 5 action. And I think that's a bit of a weird list to have because, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League could come out and there'd be something in that which I was like, wow, that's now my... There's loads of films, and even films I don't really like have some really good action scenes because, you know, a lot of films have good action scenes. Even films which aren't very good, a lot of them will have at least one. You know, when it comes to, if obviously a comedy film isn't a bad comedy film is not going to have a great action scene, but a lot of, you know, bad superhero films, bad action films have at least one 5-minute, 10-minute sequence where you're like, that was actually pretty cool. So, but it is one of my favourites. Whenever someone says name one of your favourite action sequences, this is what does come to my mind. And I love it, and it's so intense, so well done, it's fantastic. And people again criticise it because Batman's killing people, although it's not. It's sort of like impartial killing. But you see the brutal, you know, like he's not murdering them, he's not strangling them, he's not breaking their necks. But he's like, well, if they're in the way, if they're going to throw a grenade at me, well, fuck them, sort of thing. They can. And it's the same when he shoots the guy with the like 50 cal machine gun on the back of the van, pickup truck. Sorry, he's sort of like, well, I'm going to shoot the gun, and if he's still standing there, that's his problem, sort of. And you can see he sort of like looks when he looks out the window after he shot the guy. It's sort of like this look of, should have motherfucking moved, motherfucker. So, and it's the ferocity. He's so furious. His ferocity during that fight is amazing. It's just the way he's flinging things around. Because this is like the ultimate moment in his entire career as Batman, saving the mum that he failed to save. It's just so good. And, you know, he does take them out in less than friendly ways. But it works because of it. It is such a good fight. I love it. Clark and Lois's relationship. You know, the Lois trying to be supportive to Clark, but is even struggling herself at some point. Clark wanting to be with Lois, but feeling like he's letting her and everybody else down, and he can't deal with the weight of everything. You know. Everything like that, and then there's obviously his relationship with his mum and the speech from his dad, his mate. Why can't I remember his name? I'll remember it at some point. You know, his dad is such... Kevin Costner, that's it. I was trying to think of it. Kevin Costner is amazing as Superman's dad. Like, everything that comes out of his mouth is such a good piece of... There's no point in the film where I'm like, in either of, you know, Man of Steel or BVS, where I'm like, Jesus. They're all like, anybody can take away something from that. They're such good pieces of advice. No matter what your situation, it's just, you can take something away from what he's saying. And it's the same here, you know. And this is the same. Well, nobody, right? There will be, as an example, I'm not trying. There will be somebody who watches this review and likes it and thinks, "Yes, I agree with what you said." And there'll be somebody else who watches it and will be pissed off with me and will dislike me because they don't agree with what I'm saying. That's up to them. But I can't please everybody with this video, and I openly said at the start, this isn't for you if you want me to bash it, because I'm not gonna bash it. And it's the same with anything. No matter what you do in life, you're not going to please everybody. You could write a book, right? If you're going to write a book, some people could love it. Some people could fucking hate it. Fucking hate you, because how dare you write such a piece of shit. No matter what you do in life, you're not going to please everybody. You know, if you're part of a, let's say you're part of a church and you do a charity thing, that's great, you raise money for charity, but somebody who hates religion isn't going to praise you for it, because they fucking hate religion. Shouldn't be even a religion. No matter what you do, no matter how good it is or how good your intention is, it will piss somebody off. That person could be in the wrong for, you know, being angry with you, but it doesn't change the fact that they are. And it's sort of like what the dad says, you know, and you can take a lot away from that. You know, you can't please everybody all the time, or any of the time. You can never please everybody, no matter what you do. It's such a good piece of advice, it really is. I love everything the dad says. He's great in this, even though he's only one scene, has such an impact. The mum has a lot to do, because she's now the main parent, sort of thing, and she gives a lot of good advice as well. And you really see how when Lex kidnaps her, how it affects Superman. And the other thing, Superman has matured between Man of Steel and BVS. And one of the things that's pointed out in common criticism of Man of Steel was, why didn't Superman lure Zod away from the city? Well, he's been Superman for one day. He's not exactly, you know, he's not a game planner. He's not thinking that through. But with Doomsday, he did. He launched him into space. The problem is with launching it into space is that it's not going to stay in space. It's probably going to come back down, like it did with Zod and Doomsday. So going into space isn't the be-all, end-all answer to all your problems. Oh, take the fight to space. Well, then fucking what? You're then in space. You could punch you and then back on Earth. And then by going into space, if you're in a relatively empty area, you can then end up somewhere completely fucking different, full of people. So, in a different time zone. So, one place is it could be nighttime and completely deserted. Somewhere else is daytime and busy, and you've just made it worse. Depending on how far the battle goes, but knowing a godlike Superman fight, going into space is only going to make it could make it worse. Not only could make it worse. And like nuking him nuking Doomsday made it worse, because not only did you knock out Superman for about 10 minutes, I mean, granted he came back and was supercharged, but not only was he unconscious for 10 minutes, you then made Doomsday like grow, basically take out a huge chunk of his evolution, excelled that massively, so now he's Spiky Mofo. I like Spiky Mofo, he was cool. And that's the thing also, Doomsday, quickly. People who criticise Doomsday, if you don't like Doomsday, well here's the thing. This Doomsday is not Doomsday. This Doomsday's Baba. I call him Baba Doomsday, little baby Doomsday. Because he's little baby. From the time that he's brought to life, basically born out this massive womb thing, to the time he dies is like half an hour. So, considering he's been alive for half an hour, he does evolve quite a lot and is intimidating. It'd be like if a human baby was born and was born as a 2-year-old and grew to a 6-year-old in the case of half an hour. So born as a 2-year-old and then goes to a 6-year-old. But keep in mind, this 2-year-old Doomsday's massively tall, massively structured, and big, scary, snarly thing. So, there is, and they also say in the film, never again will life be, given to a deformity. They will never do it again. They say the word again, meaning it's happened before. Meaning there's an adult Doomsday somewhere out there, which Zack has confirmed. Scary Mofo. So, the Doomsday thing was great. Superman's death to stop Doomsday was great. And I like it. People said it was rushed, but I thought it was amazing. And here's the thing, you can't... they have a limited time when it comes to with comics. Drag it out as long. They don't, because it takes time to make a film. They can't do like all of these ideas with the same actor and the same continuity. Otherwise, it would take like 50 years to do them all. Filmmaking takes longer than making a comic book. Not saying comic books aren't good, but that's just the fact. And they've also, comic books, they don't have an actor. They don't have to worry about an actor getting older or disinterested in playing the character, because it's on paper. Like writing a book, you're not having to worry about, and that's why a lot of books, things that sort of start off, they never get completed, because if it takes them 2-3 years to do, the sequel, if it's so important for your book for the character to be like 13, well, they can only be 13 once, and then by the time they do the sequel, they're 15 or 16, and then they do the third one and they're 19, and then it just gets older, and it's the same with this. You have to understand that they have a limited amount of time with the actor's biology and the director's, because they would get too old to do it, or not want to do it, because they don't want to spend the next 30 years of their life on the same thing. And that's so. In terms of the Superman death story arc, which some people was rushed, some people I thought was fine. I thought it was fine. Considering the main focus of this to do is to set up a bigger universe with Justice League, the Justice League trilogy. That's what this is going for. I think it works. I think it was a good way to make the world realise Superman was a hero, a good reason to form the Justice League, a good reason for all of that, and a good reason to not have a fully mentally reformed. Because imagine you being, when you go to sleep, and it's a really deep sleep, and you can wake up and you forget where you are, and you're a bit like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then it takes you 10 seconds to fully remember, what did I do last night? What was last night? And you forget all of that. Well, imagine the same principle, but being dead for a year. Imagine what the fuck your mindset would be after that. You would probably you'd forget everything about your life. I'm not saying you wouldn't remember it, but your mind wouldn't be working like that. You'd be freaking the fuck out, like Superman does in Justice League. Yes, I am, unfortunately, having to talk about that Justice League right now. But I also know he does it in the Snyder Cut as well. And it has the military involved. And it's a good reason to have set all of these things up for him to die. And have a heroic death, which he does. And Lex motive, to get him killed, because he doesn't... Lex is a great villain in this. He's so clever, but you can tell... I know some people says he pretends to be insane, and I do think he overdoes, not overdoes it in terms of acting, but he enhances it to prove a point. But he clearly has something. I think he's covering his his true tick, his true, because you get people like me. I've got Asperger's, I've got OCD, I've got Puro. And as I've gotten older, I've having to try and control my OCD more and control my Puro more and try and get over my little tics that I do. And there are things that I don't like and things that would bother me, but I have to, like if I was in a house, the way things are organised can sometimes bother me. But I'm not going to get angry about it because it's not my house and I have no right to. And I don't know what Lex sort of has as a... I think he's clearly on some form of... Because a lot of I'm not calling myself Jesus Christ. I am not... Just a disclaimer. I'm not calling myself a genius. But a lot of people who are intelligent, are on the massively intelligent, have something, are on the spectrum, have some form of, mental condition. And because of that, you can tell it's affecting him in a... The things that bother him is adding up. It's all boiling up, and his character breaks at certain points of the film. Like I said with his speech, he's nice. And then when he's talking about having knowledge and no power, like he has the knowledge, but he doesn't have the physical strength to beat Superman. He breaks, and it's a good example. And when he's on the roof, and he's trying to think of it like when he's talking about shapes, round and round they go to find Superman. No, wrong category. No, triangles. You can tell he's sort of like this. He's so emotional, not in a sad, like teary way, but he's got so much personal feeling towards this, and he's clearly got some form of tic because of the way he sort of flips around with his hands and likes to do this, and clearly doesn't like to sit still for very long. He's expressing how he feels quite well, and it's like he gets angry and he's like, He does that with his hand when he mentions God. You know, when he says, no man from the sky came to me to deliver me from Daddy's fists and abominations. And he sort of like does that with his hand whilst he's doing that. Because it's clearly all coming out to boiling to the surface. He's super intelligent. Like I said, the way he adapts his own plan so often is amazing. But you can tell he's got this sort of like baseline natural feeling that he has to contain, otherwise his plan won't work. He'll get too... You know, I bet at that moment he wanted to punch Superman in the face, but that's obviously not going to help his plan at all whatsoever. And he has to try and remain calm, and it's like when he realized, I love when he's so smug, but the bad news, and Batman goes, I'd rather do the breaking in person.
That'll be the cook. Excuse me? Gotham roast. Well done. Hello? Break the bad news.
I'd rather do the breaking in person.
20.
You see his face, and then he gets angry, and he has to try and contain, and then he gets Doomsday. He's like, born to destroy you. He's so happy, but you can tell his eyes and the way he's sort of, and it's like at the very end of the film when he goes, the bell cannot be unrung, and he's shaking and he's like frothing, and he's like, they've heard it and they're coming, and he just goes ding 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 ding. I'm obviously not going to act it out, like, because I probably can't, so I've just come across as really fucking look weird. Probably not come across weird, but you can tell he's got a lot of emotion towards this, and he's got clearly some form of I don't know how to word it, and I'm not trying to be offended to anybody who has some, because like I said, I have stuff, so I'm not trying to come across as offensive. I just don't know how to describe it brilliantly. That you can tell he's got tics and he's got a lot of emotion on this, but he's also got a genius intellect, and he's trying to contain the tics and the anger with his "I'm smart." Because and it's also like when he's with the senator, it's like, and then she grabs his hand and he goes because he's sort of like, he's having to calm himself down in a strange way, because he's realising he's making himself look quite bad in the sense of what he wants. He is bad, but you know what I mean. So he's a great villain. I love him, and his motive and the way his plan changes is amazing. I love the end, like the God is dead, the ding dong, the God is. I love that, and I love how the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League actually opened with that. I love the Doomsday. I love the Ben Affleck and his motive for how he's gotten to that point. I love this situation that Superman's in. I love that Perry White's like just fed up with his employees doing random shit without his permission. I just find that quite funny, and I love his. So could you if it was 1938, but it's not 1938. Not in here, and then it's not in here, not out there. You dropped this thing, and I feel like that was aimed at haters before the film even came out. It was like, it doesn't work in the real world, and doesn't work. You know, being super happy over cheeky chappy thing doesn't work all the time. You know, doesn't work in the real world. Won't work here. You drop it. And I feel like that's aimed at people who have that argument. It's just like, shut the fuck up. So I feel like that works as a double message. And overall, like I said, Batman's amazing, Superman's amazing. So yes, I'm going to just quickly wrap up now to the non-spoiler stuff again. So I love the way Doomsday's introduced, and like I said, I think they did a good job containing the arcs that he's on. I feel like they did a good job containing the arcs of a lot of different comic book things. Like I said, Dark Knight Returns, this more origin to Superman, the more origin to Lex Luthor, and all of these things. And I like how they contain, and I think they did a good job combining 4 or 5 different massively famous comic book arcs to make this one new thing, and I think it worked brilliantly. It's not just based off one exact thing. You've got Batman from Dark Knight Returns, you've got Superman from something else, you've got Lex from something else. You add it all together and it creates this new combination. And it works brilliantly. It's like a combination of salt, spices. It just works. You know, or it's like that's the best way is ingredients. All the ingredients from different things, but a bit of that in it, but a bit of that in it, and then you get voila, this like casserole of an amazing film. You know, that's the best way I'm going to try and describe it. Sorry for how long I know this video is fucking long, but it's so hard to talk about because I honestly believe if you've got two people to talk down, even if those two people hate Batman v Superman, but especially if they love Batman v Superman, you could literally talk about this film for 10 hours. You could, really. It's so much to talk. People still talk about it, and the film's 5 years old, and that says something. But how good the film, you know, it's so much to talk about. So sorry for how long this video is, and if you've got to this point, thank you. I massively appreciate that. Overall, I love this film. I love the way Zack tells it. I love the way he combines everything and tells this new story. And, you know, David S. Goyer and Chris Terrio did an amazing job of the writing, and the whole thing just comes together. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL score works brilliantly, especially the Batman introduction, that music there. Batman's theme is amazing. The whole thing I love. I probably will make a video at some point, which is just me talking about this film for ages why I love it, because even more of it so, because there's so much to talk about. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, that's my feel of the film, how I feel about the overall thing. Zack Snyder did a great job adapting the story, you know, the material adaptation, you know, paying homage to the source material and doing it really well, and making sure the actual fans were pleased, and creating a new story by himself. He did an amazing job, like I said, Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer as well. Great job. And overall, yeah, I just love this film. I really do. I really, really do. I recommend it, and I love how it set, like I said, the story comes together and all the adaptations. And I love how this film sets up for the future films. I can't wait for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not the fucking hell, that film. Where is that? Where is that film? That one. You know the one I'm talking about. I do own it. I'm not gonna lie. Here it is. This ain't what this film set up. This ain't it. No. And I do own it. I own it on Blu-ray as well. I just sort of wanted to... It's for review purposes also, the fact that this could be worth something in future, because I can't imagine this being known as the definitive version of the film for much longer. So, this could be worth something. So I personally think it's worth keeping. Part of me wants to destroy it with a baseball bat, like a lot of other people did, but other part of me wants to keep it just in case one day it's actually worth something. So, there you go. But the good film which I want to talk about, this, I recommend it on 4K, definitely Ultimate Edition. Do not watch the theatrical cut, watch the Ultimate Edition. If you don't have 4K, I recommend it on Blu-ray. Obviously I recommend it over digital again, because like I said, if you don't have the best internet, it's never going to be the best quality. But if you do get it on digital, make sure you're watching it on the Ultimate Edition, that's the thing. So I recommend that film, love it, good quality, get it on the best quality you can. And I can't wait for this. This is going to be good. I got this for Christmas. It's an empty box, but it has that, and it has the I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells, he never fought us, not us united. Hashtag us united on it. So I love that. It was a great Christmas present. So my mum got that for me, and I'm massively thankful for it. Can't wait for that. Love this film. Love how the film handles everything, and I love how it sets up the next film, which is yet to be released. So, the true, you know, film was yet to be released. So anyway, can't wait to watch that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Sorry how long it was, but I hope if you have watched it, you agree with what I said. And if you didn't like, I hope I might have changed your mind on it a little bit. If you didn't like it, But if you like it, I do hope you agree with what I said. Thank you and if you haven't watched it, I hope I, got you to want to watch it. But also the spoiler thing. The main bit for the spoilers, that was for the people who have watched it. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you loved the film, or love the film when you watch it, but especially I hope you do love it if you have watched it. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next review, which will be for Suicide Squad. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I enjoyed talking about this film. I absolutely love this film. So yes, thank you for watching. Goodbye. I'm actually going to be completely honest here. Oh god, that's a mess. Anyway, sorry. This is actually filmed probably a week after the rest of the video. It wasn't until I was editing it that I realised I didn't mention Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and I didn't give the film a grading either. So, anyway, I tried to match my clothes, actually, to what I was wearing the last time I filmed this. So, to create some form of continuity. So, Justice League, take notes, because this is how you fucking do it. Sorry. Anyway, so I just wanted to say quickly, Gal Gadot is an amazing Wonder Woman in this film. Well, she's an amazing Wonder Woman anyway. I've actually filmed my Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman review since this. But anyway, she's amazing in this film. It's not really a whole subplot, but she has her own little thing going on that sets up future films, including Wonder Woman. That's cool, and she's amazing in the action sequences. I'd go so far to say... So I thought somebody was knocking on the door, then there's not. Anyway, she is amazing in the film. She's amazing in the action sequences. I'd go so far to say that her action sequences in this film are the coolest out of all of the ones she's done in any film. Although I did like some of the things in Wonder Woman a lot. But she is amazing, and the fight scenes are amazing. This is the coolest she's been, because it's the most present-day Wonder Woman that she's ever been as a character. Because, by all of the previous films she's been in, set in the past. So this is the most modern her character has been. We're not counting that. We are not counting that. But yeah, so Zack Snyder's Justice League will obviously continue the story, because we aren't counting the other thing. But yeah, so this is the most modern her character has been, and it is absolutely amazing. I loved her fight scenes, and I loved her, not full subplot, but her little sort of story thing going on. I know that's what the subplot is, but it's not like a whole thing. That set up other stuff, and she's cool. So she's good as the character. She's good, she looks like a good Wonder Woman. She plays the character well, and then the action scenes are amazing on top of that. So, just wanted to say that.
I bet with that dress, 9 out of 10 men will let you get away with anything.
But you're the 10.
I'm guessing I'm the first. I see through that babe in the woods act. You don't know me, but I've known a few women like you.
Oh, I don't think you've ever known a woman like me.
And the my film grading for this film is 9.5 out of 10, and the entertainment value is 10 out of 10, same as Man of Steel. So yes, hope you enjoyed this video. Again, sorry to add this on, and I am thankful for you watching this if you've made it to the end. So anyway, I'm going to end the video now, and I hope to see you in my next video as well. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye.